One of the great mistakes we make today, and I make it as well as anybody else does, and I probably have made it more than most of you with my background. One of the mistakes we make today is approaching God deductively, as an object of knowledge, instead of intuitively or inductively as a cause of wonder. We try to prove that God is factual, not that God isn't. But when was the last time a fact made you wonder? God is more than factual. God is wonderful. And I like the way Mark Batterson puts it. He says, the mind is educated with facts. The soul is educated with beauty and mystery. So, how do we learn wonder? How do we learn to love the Lord our God with all of our soul? What's our curriculum of study so that not deductively but inductively we can learn to wonder more? Well, our curriculum is twofold, the creation and the scriptures. So we're going to look at wonder in creation and wonder as we look at the scriptures as well. Creation. Who would like to tell a marvelous story of a recent way you wondered, as you faced a bit of God's creation? Well, let me back up a little bit and let me ask a more general question. Is what are the kinds of things in creation that make you wonder, or that you marvel at what God has done in creating things like? Yeah, David.
Well, every day you see the physiology that you cannot believe that if this were off by a fraction, we wouldn't exist.
As I'm with David, as a biologist in my former life, a microbiologist in particular, it's physiology, it's the life and what you can see in a microscope as well that turns me on. Some people are more turned on by looking at the sky and thinking of the marvelous universe. What turns you on?
I can look out our kitchen window where we have hummingbird feeders and an oil feeder, and look at that little hummingbird. You are one of God's creation.
Hummingbirds and orioles at the feeder. Absolutely. Yes?
Looking at a grandchild be born and become this awesome creative thing.
Looking at a grandchild be born and become an awesome human being. Absolutely. What else?
Our senses. Our senses. They're in to see, to hear, to feel.
Our human senses. Okay?
I guess I really having trouble now just picking out one, but recently, I hear the birds singing while I'm busy mowing at the golf course, and I think about a bird just opening up its beak, and this whistle comes out, this sound, and it's just tough to imagine how that comes forth in relation that we open our mouths and speech comes forth.
The songs of birds, human speech.
Simple things. A couple weeks ago, I was working in a garage. Some people came up for missionary service. And as they were leaving, the young lady, as she got in her vehicle, had a laugh. And the pure joy of that laugh. It was so simple, but it's like, wow. Just catch that moment.
Yes. Human laughter.
Plant a seed, or plant a garden.
Okay? Seeds and gardens and growth and life.
I want to add on to Sharon's, just the wonder of seeing this new grandchild to be in utero and seeing a little foot kicking and move and just the whole wonder of the creation.
Okay?
It's just amazing.
Seeing pictures of children in utero and in 3D, our technology is marvelous. One of the things that scholars have been very curious about in Scripture is in Revelation 8, verse 1. What you have is all of the saved come into the presence of God, and there are 30 minutes of silence. And scholars, what's that about? They've never really been able to figure it out. And Mark Batterson says, it's nothing more than our primal reaction to God's supernatural beauty. In other words, our first face-to-face encounter with God will leave us speechless, as looking at the Grand Canyon did for the first time for me 3 or 4 years ago, as Sharon and Andy and I walked out on the Sky Bridge over the top of the Grand Canyon and looking down and looking around, and I was speechless, except trying to keep Sharon from getting. We had to keep her under control. But anyway, we'll need 30 minutes of awed silence in the presence of God as we hold our collective breaths in the presence of the majesty and beauty of our God. Awed silence is generally our first reaction of wonder. Silence is one of the soul's love languages, to paraphrase Gary Chapman, who writes about love languages. When we're filled with wonder, what Batterson says is it's a foreshadowing of what we'll experience in heaven as we actually come face to face with God.